Hello, in this video we're going to begin to look at the components and the structures of the various aspects of photosynthesis. So let's not waste any of your time, let's get right to it. Now we have spent, this is video 7 of our series. So we have spent 6 videos just really talking about various aspects of photosynthesis. But in this video, we're going to begin to lay the foundation for talking about the LDR, the light dependent reaction, and the Calvin cycle. Now in the photosystem structure, we've got these photosystems, photosystem 1, photosystem 2. They are the main aspects of the light dependent reaction. And in a similar way, you can think about them like a satellite dish that you see over on in the diagram over to the far edge there. That satellite dish, if you know how these things work, the satellite sends out the transmission, and the satellite dish, because it's at a little concave, it's able to capture it, and that information then is transferred to the reaction center, which is then, if you've got a satellite dish at your house and you've ever looked at it, you know it's got a bunch of wires that then go into your house, into wherever you're, if you have a DVR or just straight to your TV, but transmits that signal all the way into your TV. Well, the photosystems work in a very similar manner. Okay, you've got the antenna complex, the area that receives the light energy from the sun and absorbs it. Okay, and then it funnels it down to the reaction center, where that energy then is used to energize the electron. So we're going to talk about it here, but once we're in class, we'll also look at a little simulation to showcase that as well. But it's the idea of receiving the light energy, absorbing it, funneling it, okay, and then using it to energize the electrons. The antenna complex is filled with those chlorophyll molecules, or those pigment molecules, whether it's chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, the B carotene, absorbing that energy, okay, and passing it along until the electron has enough energy to where it actually leaps out. Okay, but when you think about that, those pigments absorbing the energy, and then they pass it along, they funnel it along for just a comical reasons. If you think about a mosh pit, when they put somebody up on top of the crowd and they pass them around person to person, at any given time 3 or 4 people may have their hands on the person, but they're moving them around above everybody's head. It's similar in nature. We're passing the energy along from molecule to molecule, making its way to the reaction center. Now in the reaction center, as I mentioned previously, that's where the chlorophyll A, or I shouldn't say that's where it's located. It's throughout the whole photosystem, but it's only chlorophyll A is in the reaction center, and that's because it has that unique ability to be able to convert the light energy into chemical energy. It's the only one that can do that. So it's there by the electron. But again, the energy is being funneled to try to charge up that electron to where eventually it will get enough energy that it can actually leap out of the photosystem and move to that next step in photosynthesis. And based on if it's photosystem 1 or photosystem 2, where that next step is. But we'll showcase that at a later time. Okay, this is the same image that was on the previous screen, but it's now larger. We don't need a satellite dish anymore. But let's talk about this antenna complex and how it works. It's the idea of absorbing that light energy. Okay, and you can see the yellow, follow the yellow arrows. The funneling, that photon is absorbed by the pigments, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, B-carotene, and then that energy is passed along, okay, funneled along into where the electron is. And once it has enough energy, as I mentioned, it actually leaves and then is accepted by a primary electron acceptor, as you can see there. And that, of course, you're going to find is NADP. What you want to remember, though, is that even though we're focusing on the electron, okay, there's H's involved as well. Something else we'll talk about later on is that you can see kind of in the middle at the bottom of that diagram that water supplies those electrons, but we'll talk about that. But again, it's the process of funneling the energy to where the electron has enough energy, it can leap out. But again, we'll look at, once we get to the LDR, the light dependent reaction videos, we will showcase that heavily. Alright, now we want to focus on the reaction center. Again, chlorophyll in there, gets that energy passed to it, absorbs it. The idea of the electron getting energized enough to where it can physically remove itself from that area. And then you can see the pathway. The large protein on the far left, that's photosystem 2. Again, you can see the water down below there that's supplying those electrons. And then you can see the pathway through the yellow arrows going through that next protein. And of course, that protein is going to be taking in H's. And those H's are going to be funneled down to the ATP synthase, just like in the electron transport chain. So that electron leaves photosystem 2, travels through the membrane pathway there, and enters photosystem 1. And again, the same process happens. The photon is absorbed, the energy funneled, the energy used, and eventually the electron gets enough energy to where it again leaves photosystem 1, and at that part is accepted by an electron or an energy carrier, and then moved on to the Calvin cycle. Well, that is our video on kind of the structure of photosynthesis. When we come back next time, we'll spend time looking at the light dependent reaction. So we'll see you then.